Hello and welcome to Military Mantra. In this interview, we have today Major Jayesh Varma, Shaurya Chakra, who has served in Indian Army. And in this interview, we'll try to understand his journey of joining Indian Army, life in the Indian Army, and various life lessons that he has learned over his service. So thank you, sir, for coming on this interview and welcome.
Pleasure is all mine. And first of all, I congratulate all the viewers who are going through your channel and who are getting all the knowledge from experienced people in this, especially domain, which is known as defense forces. Compliments to them because they have made their mindset to join the forces and they are on the way and getting as much as knowledge and experience which they can gather from the experienced soldiers. So it is a commendable job they are doing, and you too, Akash. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if you could, start telling us how was your journey before joining the Fauj, and what was your motivation to join the Indian Army back then?
Well, talking about me, actually, I hail from a tribal district of Maharashtra, and I was from a very humble background. So, if I can tell you about something about my place where I was born and brought up, so it's a small town called Shahada in Nandurbar district of northern Maharashtra. It is situated at the borders of Maharashtra, Gujarat, and MP. So, this is declared as a tribal village and tribal district. So, talking about army, I was firstly not aware that how one should get into army. Now, initially, I aimed for joining army as a GD soldier, for which I attended a couple of BRO bhartis also. But subsequently, that time, after immediately after my schooling, that was in 10th, I appeared for a couple of them. Later on, I joined NCC, and in NCC, I got to learn a lot of things about forces, about the entries, what all entries we have, like NDA, we have CDS, we have short service commission, we have permanent commission, we have entries for technical graduates like engineers, we have entries for doctors, for lawyers. So all those information, there was an information void. And I'm talking about something, before 2000 or 2000, 2001, that era. So that time, the internet facility, the mobile facility which we have, plethora of information on our fingertips, it was not available. So, well, I always had a dream of joining army, and I knew that you should be running, going running and doing some physical activities to get into the soldier trade. The only information which was available. So I was preparing for that. Subsequently, I went into the NCC, and in NCC, I came to learn learn about forces so much that I already started feeling that I'm in the Fauj.
Okay.
That is what we used to call ourselves, that we are in the Fauj. So that was the ignition point from where not only I have gathered the knowledge about the forces, but also I have, trained myself and, groomed myself in a way that I should get selected. So yes, NCC was the milestone.
Got it, sir. So if you could, also speak about your SSB experience. I understand that you were a repeater. So how was that experience for you, and what tips you would like to give to the aspirants who want to appear for SSB?
Well, in a couple of my previous interviews also, few of your viewers have already seen that or might have seen that. I have given them one mantra, and that mantra is, that mantra is not created by me, but I am harping about it because I have tested it on ground, and that is keep trying. So try once, try again and again and again, try again and again and again and again and again and again and again till the time you succeed. So it's simply, if you want to summarize this mantra, it is like never give up. So that is the only mantra I wish to give all the aspirants of defense forces who are appearing for services selection board. Now, as you might also be, conversant with the full form of services selection board, or rather SSB. Well, in my language, if I have to tell you what is SSB, just to summarize, in its name itself. So SSB is not services selection board. SSB is such board. Okay. So that is the second funda I want to tell you about SSB. It is such bowl. When I say this, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is showing your true self to the board, and then let them decide that whether you're trainable and whether you are capable of, following so many norms and, giving your duties to the nation as an officer.
Hmm.
So yes, the basic mantra is try again and again, never give up. And the bottom line mantra, especially for defense aspirants, is such goal.
Got it. So there's one concept that we hear about called the officer-like qualities. Since you have been an officer and you have given multiple attempts, so how do you now look at officer-like qualities when you look back? Did you
Well,
already have them, or did you will eventually get developed?
see, if we are talking about officers like qualities, well, there are listed 13 to 15 qualities which we are talking about.
Yes.
But is it that only those qualities will help you? No. What I want to tell you, or what I want to tell the audience, is don't focus on those qualities. See, when you are running after money, money runs ahead of you. In your schools and colleges, boys and girls, when you are running after your crush runs ahead of you. But when you don't run after them, they ultimately come back to you. So what I'm trying to tell you from this example is that don't only segregate few qualities and call them officers like qualities. If you become a good human being, that is the best quality you can strive for, being a good human being. Now, being a good human being comprises of so many things. It comprises of your emotions also. It comprises of your emotions or your behavior towards living and even abstract non-living things also.
Okay.
So rather than focusing on those 15 qualities, which you call it as a officers like qualities, if you try to become a better human being by your consciences, by your consciousness, you will automatically inherit those 15 qualities.
Got it. So if you could speak about your journey in the Officer Training Academy, any memories that you have from that period?
Oh, sure. I mean, there are so many memories, but what would be prevalent or giving some message to the audience in question is, more important. So talking about the Officers Training Academy, well, I have no doubts that it is one of the hardest training in not only in India, but if you can count a couple of more countries. So top three of, it falls under top three of them in as far as hardness or hardship is concerned, because the inclement weather of Chennai takes toll on you, plus the normal training which is given in Indian Military Academy for 18 months, that is conscribed, that is compacted into 11 months of training. Training is same. There is, no diversion from that. But now over here, your time is the problem. So it also adds on to the hardship, apart from weather, apart from, already exhaustive curriculum of any academy. So yes, when I went there, well, unfortunately, I didn't had any friends, or rather, this network of social media was also not that prevalent those days. I'm talking about 2009 and 10.
Okay.
So, again, it was just started to boom, the internet of things and mobile phones, and the information flow started to happen. So I went as a very naive civilian in the academy. And just to give you one example, which is kind of hilarious also, in a way, that initially after joining army, it was a second or third day, I can recall, very initial days when we were running left and right for our documentation and getting things done to get ourselves properly admitted into the academy. So a couple of seniors called me. I mean, I was passing from place A to place B, and they just called me. I mean, I cannot use that language the way we, talk. I mean, it is also a symbolism. But they told me to start rolling, and I was like, with question mark, which any civilian, naive civilian will have. Sorry, sir. Firstly, I didn't understood what he's trying to say. So then he said, okay, rolling is like this. Okay, then there I've learned rolling. But then he said, okay, start rolling. Plus, sir, why? Because I looked at it as a punishment. So I asked him, sir, why? I mean, did I do something wrong? I mean, is there any mistake? So he said, no, but you just start rolling. And when I, kept asking him again and again, he got pissed off. And then he called all the senior groups or senior batch. And they subsequently, called all the junior batch into fall in. And then they made me stand outside of the group and told the group to start rolling. And the whole course of mine immediately started rolling. Then, front roll and back roll and cream jump and, Maharaja position and helicopter and everything. And finally on the push-ups, they started saying that every push-up, now you will thank your postmate who didn't roll, because of which, you all are rolling. So now every push-up you will start saying, thank you, Jayesh. So it was a kind of hilarious and naively awkward one of the scene which I remember from very initial days. But then later on, I realized that whether a mistake or not, if you're told something to do, you ought to do. And subsequently, you find that in service also. So a lot of things which you presume, may not be that way in the services. So always remember to open your horizon and start learning, start grasping your environment, and simply follow the orders. That's all.
So if you could also speak about, your journey after the OTA, how did you make choice of your unit and life inside your unit and regiment? How was that life for you when you were a young officer?
Oh, okay. So, month before the commissioning, you fill in an index form in which you give choice of your arms as well as regiment. So before that, we start, again, naivety, lack of friends and family in the forces. So how you choose? Otherwise, if somebody has got his parents or somebody or some relatives in the force, and if they are into communication, so they can still get the knowledge from them. So for the people who have completely no background, so that is how, I mean, what I have done is like go into the library of the academy, and firstly you have to be clear about your at least a service, or the rather the arm, that which arm you want to join. So I was always, although before joining force, like any of my young mates would be thinking maroon beret and the tashan of special forces. So similarly I also had that, but in training you come to know about your limitations as well as strengths, and there you decide ultimately that where exactly you fit in, or where exactly you should go. So although the aspirant of maroon beret, however, I could only manage to join infantry because I didn't want to go below infantry. No. I have to be in a fighting force because I was full of zeal and josh and whatnot, you can say. So yes, arm was clear, infantry. Now there was a question. Now in infantry, you have many regiments, to the tune of 250 battalions we have. And if you segregate them into the different groups, so that is how it is managed. So what I started doing, I started going through the history of the battalions. Now we have so many Paramveer Chakra awardees, we have so many Ashok Chakra awardees, we have so many martyrs whose names are etched in the stone forever. So likewise, I was going through the histories of the groups initially, that in infantry, like Rajput is one group, Rajputana Rifles is other group, then Bihar, Mahar, Punjab, all the other, these are other groups. So then I homed on to groups that, okay, which all groups are there, the uniform specification of each and every group is also different, uniquely, like Gorkhas had the hat, which I love. So the guards had the the buttons and the aesthetics of their uniform. So after deciding all those factors, then I had decided, because I am born and brought up in Maharashtra, so one choice will obviously Marathas. Then as by blood, I am a Rajasthani, so I am a Rajput, I'm Kshatriya. So by that way, I had to be a Rajput. So that was the second, logic behind me joining the Rajputs, because that Josh, only if you say the name Rajput,
Hmm.
and I mean it is there in Marathas as well. The Maratha itself is very
Warrior.
Joshili's clan,
Hmm.
I can say. So that is how I opted for Rajput, Maratha, and Grenadiers,
Hmm.
and out of which I got my, the first choice. Giving, I that is what I was saying, that after giving due diligence to whatever was presented there, and your instructors also falls part to that. You look at particular officers,
Hmm.
and then you follow their regiment. So altogether, choosing arm and unit is a different ball game, which you should uh, decide once you join the academy and subsequent experiences and knowledge.
Hmm. Got it. So, as a young officer, if you could speak about, how was your first combat experience and various learnings from that you have when you now look back?
Well, combat experience I've got only after 2016, when I went into the Rashtriya Rifles. Before that, if I say starting from my commissioning, so I was commissioned, first posting was Siachen Glacier. So
Okay.
that was one beautiful and wonderful journey in which not only I had an opportunity to serve in the world's highest, deadliest, and coldest battlefield.
Okay.
But the beauty of that place, it itself, is alluring. So that was an awesome experience. After which, my unit, for celebration of our golden jubilee, that is 50 years of my unit, we came to Chandigarh, or Chandi Mandir, as a peace station, and then subsequently unit went into Arunachal, and I was then side stepped to, or rather posted to, RR unit,
Okay.
where I have encountered, few battles, few small operations, big operations.
Got it.
And yes, that journey was actually, that was the first and the only time uh, in my 10 years of service, which I can say that I was doing actually what I was trained and made for, and that is fighting the enemy, maybe in terms of your enemy country, or their proxy wars or their proxy apparatus.
Got it.
The first combat operation was the result of at least 50 attempts which we have made before that operation. And every time we had to introspect, every time we have to identify, every time we have to grade the particular operation, that what exactly happened, whether the information was incorrect. So the credibility of source and all comes into question. And then subsequently, we plan and we discuss the things, we change and break the patterns, and we get into the contact with the enemy. Now contact means enemy has fired on you and you have fired. So I vividly remember, in fact, I very clearly remember that the operation which we are talking about, the first contact, it was in South Kashmir. And the information came, it was human information, human input, that such and such thing is there. So three of our, two more of our teams I have created, and called their commanders, briefed them, and subsequently we carried out that operation. I mean, I don't know how much, I should not go into much details, giving the exacts of the operation, but yes, it was adrenaline rush full experience, where I had to check those 15 qualities which we are talking about, the officers like quality on ground, when actually bullets are flying and you have 30 to 40 men under command, you whose life is also at risk along with you. I mean, as an officer, you would first ensure that 40 of lives are secured, and then you will think about 45th, 41st, that is your life. So yes, it was a beautiful operation in which we neutralized three terrorists, out of which two were killed and one surrendered. And the best part was, of the operation was that not even a single scratch to all my boys. So it was a wonderful experience leading them in that operation and achieving, few milestones which can be, remembered in my own life at least.
Got it. Sir, if you could tell us about, what was your favorite weapon when you were in combat?
Well, the favorite weapon, actually weapon is decided based on the circumstances and the situation. Now, let me tell you, I used to carry 3 weapons and
Okay.
this is little lighter talk. I used to carry 3 weapons, but I used to fire 5. Now, how come? I used to carry, obviously, my first, side weapon as AK-47 because I liked it, less of a stoppages and very handy and, crisp to use. Second, I used to carry one pistol with me, okay, for, some emergency or some other activities. Third, I used to carry a gulail with me. Okay.
Okay.
Now in Kashmir, now the situations have under control, but otherwise, almost and every time you encounter, stone pelters over there. So for that, I had that the tertiary weapon, I can call it, the gulair. And in battles, I also used MGL, that is multi-grenade launchers and rocket launchers. So, and of course, the hand grenade. So, these are the beautiful weapons which we, use. So, your answer, the favorite weapon is as per favorite situation.
Okay, got it. If you could tell us about the operation where you were awarded the Shaurya Chakra, because we have seen the photos and the videos when you were actually receiving the award. If you could speak about that, to whatever details you could tell us.
Yes, it was the same operation which I was talking about initially. In which we have killed 2 and apprehended the 3rd terrorist. So that operation actually was launched before the last light, and by the time we were making the cordon, by the time we were encircling that area, immediately the terrorists, started firing at us. And well, I was running after my boys to take a proper ad, and the burst, just way past my head. Now, as soon as the contact was established, all the, communication channels were, secured. Everything was informed, and reinforcements were ordered. That everybody is, okay, everybody is fine, and everybody is into behind good art. One terrorist, just sprung over in front of me into the Nala and started firing indiscriminately. So the moment he sprayed the bullets in front of me, I was ducked down, but then while spraying it, he turned behind and started firing at my boys also. That was the moment I caught, where I seen him, in a complete frame, I can say, and he was kneeling and firing. So I just, in that fog of war, sometimes your mind, gives you some wrong inputs also. Sometimes you disbelieve what you're seeing. So initially, when I saw him full screen, so I was like, whether he's, because he was using the same fatigue as what we use, kind of uniform. So still having skeptical mind, I shot his thigh, and the moment I shot his thigh, he just, went down, reading the kalmas. That time it was confirmed that, okay, he is a terrorist and he is still. I told him to surrender. However, he just picked up his gun and again started shooting. So I had to take a headshot then. So that is how the first terrorist was, neutralized. The remaining 2 terrorists, at the start of gunfight, they ran and sprang into nearby 2 different houses, out of which one we have convinced him to surrender because he was a new joinee. He just joined the ranks of terrorists 2 to 3 months back. So while we gathered information about him and during the operation itself, and we convinced him, and he surrendered also. But the third one was still reluctant and gave a pitch battle till morning. Now, after that, in the morning, we had to first evacuate the complete locality, complete small town kind of sort of, that locality. And then after searching all the houses, and then we finally homed down to that There also, he kept shifting in the rooms and the bathrooms and kept firing from all the directions. So it was a bloody battle, which finished finally at 10:00 hours in the morning, which started around 6 the earlier day in the evening.
Okay. Okay, sir. So since you have spent around a decade in the Indian Army, if I can ask you any three life lessons that you learned from your service, which you still cherish, what would they be?
Oh, life lessons. Oh my God. I mean, there are so many. There are so many life lessons. Life lessons. Yes, you have to be a truthful person in the life, to at least stand in your own eyes rather than world. First thing first. That is the first lesson which I want to tell you. Second lesson which I have got is, try and as humane I'm talking about, have an empathy for anything and everything. And please, for God's sake, help each other, without any reasons. Nishkam seva jise kehte hain. Now, as the aspirants, all of you are aspiring to join these services. Let it be Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, CRPF, PSF, whichever force. Let me tell you, wherever the word service comes. So service is like seva, what you do to your mother, and ultimately that is what you try to do while aspiring to join these forces. You want to serve your motherland, obviously you will, for bread and butter of yourself and the family, you will require to earn a salary which is given to you by the government. But service is selfless, and if you get, I will pray to God that you get succeeded in your attempts and in your quest to join or don uniform. You must remember this, that you should serve the nation without anything in return. The moment you kill this, ichha of yours, what we can call it, or urge to have something in return, then the notion of service changes into business. So, decide beforehand only whether you want to join the forces for service or you want to join it as a business. And if you think to join it for a business, please don't do so, because you won't be succeeding into, after getting into the force. Plus, there will be, the risk of life, not only on yourself, but also on others who are under you. So service without any biases, completely equal to all, stoic, and without any self-interest.
Got it. So if you could tell us, how do you look at leadership and how does armed forces have helped you to, groom yourself into a better leader? If you could speak about that.
Well, in a traditional sense, if you see leadership, so people will say that the person who leads, but leadership is when the person, see, while we're talking about a leading, if I give you 10 people and if I give you 11th person as a senior and I proclaim him that he is a senior, so every 10 people will be respecting him despite of the fact whether he is capable of or not. If I want to do an experiment, if I give you, let's say, a group of 10 people as an employee who are graduates, and I give you a senior who's a 12th pass, and I tell the group that, okay, he is a senior, people will still, respect him. But that will be for initial phase, only for few days. After that, people will come to know about his caliber, his IQ, his leadership traits, and people will accordingly either respect him or despise. So as far as leader is concerned, the only thing which he should be able to earn is trust and respect of his men. Trust and respect of his boys, he commands the men and the unit. Because if that trust is there, you can achieve or you can win any battle and every battle. Because the boys are, there to stand in front of you. They should be, symbolically, there should be a fight between an officer and a man. Of the boys should respect him so much that they are ready to endanger themselves for the safety of an officer. Similarly, officers should be so commanding and so much with the zeal and the josh that he should ensure that before any boy get hurt, he should be the one who faced the bullet. Let me tell you one instance. When I was given a command of a RR company, I was given command of most notorious company of my unit. So I was briefed by my CEO that, it is the most notorious company, and you will have a hard time. Well, sir, don't worry, just don't bother, because you are sending the biggest gunda over there. I am the one, gunda in the sense, if you are notorious, I am notorious, simple. So I was given that company. The day I had taken that company under my command, in a Sainik Sammelan, where you generally converse with your troops.
Correct.
So after having the formalities and all, I told them the basic knowledge I told them the basic motto of that Sainik Sammelan, that boys, remember, I am here to fight, no matter whoever it is. I am trying and, concentrating my energies on the enemies. But if you don't fall in line, if you don't abide by what is trained in your trainings and the procedures, we will not have success. We will only there to, leak our wounds. This is a battle zone. Now, as far as battle is concerned, remember, the bullet to touch you, it will have to tear me apart. Just to touch you, it will have to tear me apart. और जो मुझे चीर दे वो गोली तो मेरे दोस्त बनी नहीं है अभी तक. The bullet is yet to be manufactured, which will tear me apart. So forget about, any bullet touching you. It will not touch you because I am the shield. And thanks to God, thanks to the training, thanks to the motivation and josh of my boys also, that not only me, but all of them were safe during all my operations. And we never, had to lift any casualty, so to say, the fatal one.
Nice. That's nice, sir. So,
So now this instance was if you can call it a leadership, where you men are fighting with you, for you, against the enemy with the same cause, having the optimum utilization of whatever resources you have and producing the result.
Got it. So since you are a short service commission officer, if you could tell us, what are the various opportunities an SSC officer has once he comes out of the army? If you could speak about that.
Well, say, army is itself, sufficient to take care of all the SSC officers, but due to some policy constraints, they may not be able to do that. However, let me tell you that there is a very high demand for short service commissioned officers, ladies as well as gents officers in outside world, and in every domains. Let it be operations, let it be HR, supply chain, whichever field you talk about. See, general perception amongst the corporate world, now it has reduced a lot. However, still it exists in the Faujis itself that we are only good for securities. No, there are many examples where, officers from armed forces, all the three, including Navy and Air Force, as well as the gents and ladies officers, are doing extremely well in outside world, because firstly, they are one trained gadget for which, the corporates or the companies have to invest very less in terms of training, in terms of giving or imbibing the qualities or leadership traits or communication skills or anything. So they are in high demand, and yes, they are very, I have got 4 offers till date within the span of 3 months after my retiring. In fact, I have already done one assignment as a security liaison officer of Team England in Dubai during this T20 World Cup, which has just culminated last year.
Got it.
So that was a short term. I just wanted to have that experience, and it is a very nice field, the sports field, in which you have all the upcoming sports. And nowadays in India, after IPL, there is a boom in the sports industry. If you see pro kabaddi, if you see hockey tournaments, and every sport is picking a pace. So if you want to do career in sports fields, so there are ample opportunities.
Got it.
So yes, as far as your question is concerned, after short service commission of 10 years or 14 years, don't worry, you will get a job.
Got it, sir. So my final question to you would be, since a lot of aspirants will be watching you, so what will be your message, or probably the final message for all of them who wants to join the forces? Though you have touched upon few points in the earlier discussion as well.
Well, my final message, apart from what I've given you regarding SSB, regarding army, regarding this and that, my final message to you is just be happy. Just be happy. Make others happy around you. Have a very cheerful, wonderful days and nights, and those days and nights and those cheers will catapult you into achieving your goals. Apart from this message, I would also like to tell you one thing, that you have seen the staircases, right? Where the staircases ends at the ultimate top. You imagine that that is your goal where you have to reach. Now, I want you to set up a very small goals, just like steps, and try and focus your energy on each step. When you do that towards achieving your bigger goal, when you start concentrating more on the smaller goals, it will not only help you in achieving them more faster, but it will also keep adding into your confidence. It will keep adding into every small success will give you 10 to 20% more strength to fight. And ultimately, you will see one day you are confident enough, and you will very confidently, surely, and safely land on to your aim, that is top.
Got it, sir. Thanks a lot, sir, for speaking to us on this session, and sharing your views and your experience in the armed forces with all of us. And I hope a lot of people will get inspired. People already know about you, they've read about you, and they'll get some more perspective about how your thought process is. So thanks a lot, sir, for coming on this session. Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you very much, Akash, and thank you very much for all the viewers who are watching this. Just remember, be happy. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye.